All right. So after 2 hours of prepping for this podcast, we had to peek him, get his blood sugar in range. We're finally here.
I woke up fucking tired, bro.
Yeah.
And then we decided to go eat at the buffet, and my blood sugar spiked. So I'm like fucking tired as shit. And then I'm sitting here like trying to play with my blood sugar and do push-ups on the fucking table. That didn't work. So we went back to the gym, got a little pump, came back. What did my blood sugar drop? What was that, like 50 points in 30 minutes?
50 points, yeah.
Hey, listen, GLUT4 translocation, right? I don't have any insulin on me, so we had to do it somehow because my blood sugar is just going to sit up there. I'm going to be falling asleep on this podcast.
Nah, you'd be all right. So let's just roll things back and try to figure out who the fuck Phil is. What was it like growing up? When did your frontal lobe finally develop and you stop being fully retarded?
I'm still retarded, bro. People don't realize that I'm still retarded. I'm just smart at like one thing.
I know, but you're telling me some stories the other day about growing up and what it was like, how you couldn't fucking, protect yourself from your thoughts. It was act and then think and be like, oh fuck, what have I done?
I don't think I was like aware of the world for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like I look back and I just seemed like I was oblivious to everything. Yeah. Like my decisions were like being made on the spot and I was thinking about them later. And like a lot of shit was like in retrospect, but like I didn't have any on the spot thinking. Everything was just like impulse.
Yeah.
It was like, I look back and it's like, I wasn't stupid. I was oblivious. Like I just didn't think.
Yeah.
It was just like I acted before I thought, and it was just a long. I even still do it to some degree. Like you can get me to react at some points before I really think it through. Mm-hmm. But I try to make sure I don't do that because I made so many mistakes, kind of like that trauma response to it. So I'm like hyper vigilant to not react now because I'm like, wait a minute, don't do something stupid.
Yeah.
So like even in times when I'm pretty sure of the response or the decision, I'm like, let me think this through. Let me hang on a second, and I'm very quick to pause and be like, let me look at this because I know I have a tendency to react. Mm. And sometimes I can even, you've seen through the whole weekend, I can overthink shit. My friends used to always call me the dumbest smart person they know because I can come up with the most complex explanations for the hardest questions you could possibly come up with. And I can miss the simple answer to the dumbest shit you can come up with.
I know. I ask you what time it is, you'll tell me how to build a clock.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a great explanation.
I'm like, man, just come on, tell me the fucking time.
Like what time zone? How close to a fucking black hole? Like,
yeah. See, in the military, we call that like attention to detail. I feel like that's where I developed my frontal lobe. Slow down and fucking think before you act. And like growing up, I had that same issue. I just would do shit and be like, oh, what have I done? Like I remember, opening the kitchen drawer, pulling a knife, and I'm like, just start smacking the top of the counter with it. And I'm like, oh shit. My parents.
You wanted to see how sharp it was?
Just want to fuck shit up, man. Like I just couldn't. Nothing happened in my brain where I was like, this is not right. I shouldn't be doing this. And then it happened. I'm like, yep, I fucked that up.
I don't think I ever did things that were like random. I just think I did them for the wrong reasons with the wrong like understanding of them.
Yeah.
Like I didn't sit and think it through, and sometimes the answer is just way simpler than the one I was thinking of. Or sometimes it was more complex than the one I was thinking of. So I think that's why I started overthinking things, because in retrospect, I'm like, if I had thought about that better, I could have planned better, it would have had a better outcome. Mm-hmm. And then I started like really like trying to engineer situations. So I'm like thinking of an outcome and I'm trying to reverse engineer how I want to arrive at that outcome. Yeah. Right. And like, that's how I started thinking. And it's served me well in some situations and not so well in other situations. Like social interaction, like we talked about. Like I
overread body language.
I read body language. I wish I never learned to read body language. And I mean, reading body language and then practicing reading body language are two different things, because you can understand it but not pick it up. But once you've practiced it, you can't turn it off. And I can catch like a negative reaction to me from someone, and then it affects me the whole conversation. If I catch bad body language, like I could tell the person wants to go, or I could see they had a bad reaction to something that I said or something that I did, or they're uncomfortable, all of a sudden now I'm overthinking that, and that's caught in my head and I can't stop.
Don't you think there's some inaccuracy to that though? Like you talk about people crossing their arms talking to you. I do that talking to my wife. I'm not like uncomfortable. I'm not confrontational. I cross it just because I'm tired of holding my fucking shoulders up.
Reading body language is not always like one specific example. It's read off of what that person's personality is and what their baseline is, right?
Yeah.
So you could be crossing your arms because you're uncomfortable, because you're fidgety, because you're anxious. It might not be related to her. It could be for another reason.
Yeah.
So crossing your arm doesn't always mean that. it means that in certain contexts, in certain scenarios, but it doesn't always mean that. You've got to get a baseline off of how that person is how that person reacts, what their personality is, what the circumstance and the context is, and then you read that change. That's going to give you what the body language actually means. So crossing your arms is going to mean something different in different scenarios.
You need some weed, man. You need to slow down. A little bit of retard master in your life.
Because you know what? That makes me paranoid. When my mind slows down, one of the worst things that can happen to me is somebody asks me a question and I know the answer, but my brain won't pull it up. And that's what happens on weed.
I get that.
So I'm like, so then I get real mad. When I stopped smoking weed, when I used to, I would challenge myself. I would have timed games and mind games that I would play on my phone. And then when I smoked weed, I would try to match the times that I did when I was sober, kind of like lifting weights, like weighting myself down and trying to run, like to see if I could run just as fast, like just try to do it. It's just impossible. And I hate when my brain slows down. So
did you ever smoke when you were younger?
Never.
No, see, you missed out. That's back when weed was normal. Now it's on steroids. That shit just gives you anxiety and you're fucking. The weed when I grew up, it just made you hungry, horny, and happy.
It was different?
It was just normal fucking weed. I don't know. Like I said, they're doing a whole different thing. Like I went from smoking P-Town Brown growing up. Like I said, we just giggle.
I don't know what that is.
The low quality seeds and stems horse shit. And then I joined the military and I got out and I started smoking the California weed and I took a fat hit and I was like, my skin's crawling. I'm like trying to make my eggs. I'm like 30 minutes into feeling like I'm cooking my eggs. I'm like, I don't like this shit, bro. Eat my meal. That feels like it takes 2 hours. Just anxious the whole time. I'm like, I'm kind of glad it's like this though, because now I don't want to do it. Before it was just like funny and fun, you know.
Weed only did one positive thing for me ever. And it's something that I've actually retained since I've stopped. So I didn't start smoking weed till I was like 35, 36, because it was to slow my brain down to help me sleep. So my brain would shut off to go to sleep. But what started happening was I would get anxious. I would get paranoid. So these intrusive thoughts would creep into my head. So I got really good at just denying those thoughts. Like the thought would start to creep and I would be able to be like, no, shut the fuck up, like closing the door on it. And then I realized I'm like, well, why can't I do that when I'm sober if I could do it on weed? Because I like the thought creeping I know is about to cause a problem. So I would just block it. Like purposely, consciously block that thought. Like I refuse to think about it. I'd be like, well, things affect me when I'm sober. So why don't I just block those too? So that's when I started calming down and started getting a handle on things, is when I just realized I could always just block a thought. Just refuse to think about it.
You don't have to accept it.
I don't have to accept it.
I use with clients a lot. It's a book called Don't Trust Everything You Believe. And it's basically teaching you how to have that mindset is disregard certain thoughts because it's not your baseline. You know it's not real. Like some days you wake up, you're fucking depressed. It's raining outside and that just tanks your whole day. But you know that's not you, you know? So you don't have to accept those thoughts because you know 99% of the time you're happy and shit's good.
I wish I'd learned that earlier in life.
It's very
so I learned that by accident with weed because I was going to get paranoid and freak out if I didn't do that. And then I kind of connected the dots. Like, well, why can't I do that when I'm sober?
That's good.
And then I stopped smoking weed and like I've been able to retain that now. So like if something upsets me, if something gets under my skin, if I have a bad thought, I'm pretty good at just saying like, no, like shut the door on it. Like not today, buddy. And I can just block it, you know, and just change my mind and think about something else. So in the past, like if I would get upset about something, I get riled up, like I would stay riled up. Like there was no reverse. Now I'm pretty good at like the nervous system response to the bad thought will take time to come down because we have those responses.
It's an external reaction.
They're called triggers. Yeah. So we'll have a sympathetic response to a negative thought, right? And you're going to your fight or flight and that'll stay up for a while. And that takes time to come down. You could do box breathing. You could do ice in the back of your neck. You could do a cold shower. But reality, it's going to take time to come down. But if I can block that thought, that response comes down a lot quicker and a lot sooner. So, you know, I'm able to block that thought and get myself out of that state much quicker than I used to be able to.
Oh, yeah.
So that helps.
So let's talk about how you got into bodybuilding. I know we already did, but we'll do it again.
Honestly, like I lifted for wrestling, didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had like a decent response. I wouldn't say great. I didn't gain a lot of muscle. It's just I have really little joints like in my upper body. So I looked like I gained a lot of muscle. They used to call me steroid in high school. And I'll never take that shit. Yeah, okay.
now look at you got shirts, maybe steroids.
Yeah, I used to get so mad. Now it's just like a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually haven't talked to some of the people since high school. It used to call me. It'd be funny if they. I just wonder if they actually
Did
saw
you go to
it.
your high school reunion?
Hell no.
Oh, that'd have been too funny.
I didn't like it. I didn't like anybody I went to high school with really, except
well, that's
like,
the whole point. Is
circle
go
of
there
friends.
and show off. Look at all you fat bastards. Come on, it's a little ego stroke.
You know what's funny is the biggest kid that we went to high school with. We called him Toot, like a train.
Yeah.
Like fullback, linebacker on our fucking football team, state championship football team.
Mhm.
Like he was like jacked. He was super strong. He was like the most jacked person in school. And like years later, I must have been like 21, 22 on cycle.
Yeah.
I remember going into Jack's. We had like a cutoff on like a bar, like where all our friends are hanging out.
Yeah.
I remember he must have been like drinking. It was funny. He came in and he looked at me and he goes, "No!" and like started sprinting around the bar. And
that shit felt good.
I felt good.
That's what I'm saying.
I knew exactly why he screamed no, because I was bigger than him. And he just started sprinting around. And I thought that was hilarious because this is who I graduated. This was the most jacked dude that I graduated with. So I was like, all right, like yeah, that felt good.
It's good to stroke your ego a little bit here. And
but like I didn't intend to get into bodybuilding. Actually, my next door neighbor, Chris Newman, who I actually just recently reconnected with after like 20 something years, had like these great genetics and started lifting and had this crazy response. His older brothers were into it, and they started showing me how to do stuff at home. And then he took me to the gym with him once. I remember I went to the gym with him the first day, and then the next day I wanted to go again, but I was too scared to go by myself. I waited for him to come home from work for like 5-6 hours, and then we finally went. And then we went, and then on the third day, I got the balls to go by myself. But we had one of those old school racks where you lean the presets on the rack. And I hit one, and I dropped it, and it hit the next one. They went down like dominoes, and everybody in the gym looked at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm never coming back. But I wanted to go back so bad I did.
Yeah.
And then I was getting kind of like a decent response. I started reading Louis Simmons. I wanted to be a powerlifter.
Yeah.
So I started reading everything and trying to be a powerlifter and getting stronger. And the owner of the gym was a bodybuilder, but he like had experience. So like after like 6 months, he comes up to me. He's like, "So what'd you put on your bench?" And I think it was like 50 pounds. He's like, "So how much muscle did you gain?" I'm like, "Oh, I put on like 20 something pounds." He's like, "So you got worse at powerlifting." He's like, you face it. He's like, "You put on muscle faster than you get strong." He's like, "You're not ever going to be a good powerlifter."
Yeah.
He's like, you gain muscle way faster than you get strong. He's like, "That is not a good ratio." He's like, "You got worse." Yeah. He was like, "And that's going to keep happening to you." I was like, shit. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll be a bodybuilder. And then Chris was going to do a show. So we both started getting ready for it. And he decided he didn't want to do it. And I went through with it. And then the rest is history.
Yeah. And then you were, out at a party. You saw some fucking jack dude. You're like, why is this guy bigger than me? Hold up.
I was planning on staying natural, but like I was on the forums. I was already reading and digging because I was always the guy who had to figure shit out. So I had bought, what the fuck where they were? They might have been ICN amps. And I think I had 10 of them. And I had them in my house for like a long time. I was 20 something years old. So I go to a party. I had this black tank top on, showing off my muscles, like thinking I'm big. Somebody in a black tank top bigger than me showed up, and people were like, "I think he's bigger than you." I got fucking pissed.
Hold up.
So my friend Lee Zaznowski was there, and like we had been friends for a while, and like I'm like, fuck. I told him about it. And he's like, "Well, I've seen my brother do it." I was like, "You know how to do it?" Because I didn't know how to inject. He's like, "Yeah, I think I can do it." I was like, "All right, let's go." So we go to my house, and he loads it up and injects me. And that was my first shot.
So he injected you.
Yeah, he injected me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even look up the process. I had no clue how to do it.
Do you know like the amount you were doing or anything like that? Or was it just fucking loaded up?
I did 1 cc every 5 days until I ran out.
Yeah.
So, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I lost almost all the gains after the cycle because I had no idea what PCT was. I had no idea to lift properly, eat properly. I didn't know any of that.
No gyno, nothing though.
I've never gotten gyno. I guess I wasn't predisposed to it.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You know, I had pretty good response, but like, I'm not like a hyper responsive person. But that was actually really funny because he had never done a shot. He's still natural to this day, but he had seen his brother do it. So based on what he watched,
close enough, fuck it.
Close enough, fuck it. I was like, this fuck, because that fucked me up. I was like, this dude's bigger than me. I thought I was gonna be the biggest.
What size was the needle? Was it like 18 gauge or something? Like
no, I had all the right stuff.
Yeah,
because I had looked that up.
So you
there was no YouTube.
I hear horror stories of people starting with an 18 gauge. Like, Coach, why does this hurt so fucking bad? It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
There was no YouTube.
Using a harpoon. Yeah.
People gotta realize there was no YouTube. There was no video for me to view.
Yeah, it
was only writing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to picture when you're that age, you know, your mind's not developed. You're not really sure like what this means. It's not like you had Google like today. Like you want to look up what aspiration is. It's hard to find the information.
Yeah.
And like,
no, it's easy now. But like,
so
even when I came up, there was YouTube, but it hadn't really made it to that yet. So like I started off with a 23 gauge, 1.5 inch, just shooting the same glute over and over.
that had
And the guy had me on like a retarded amount. So I had like a 5cc turkey baster load on that same right glute, just getting stabbed multiple times a week. And eventually it was like, I'm like, all right, we got to do something different.
Well, here's the thing. When I was coming up, everybody was scared. So like my first cycle was 250 every 5 days.
Yeah.
And then my second cycle, I think, was like 250 twice a week. And then my third cycle was like 250 twice a week plus D-ball for the first 4 weeks. And then it was 250 twice a week plus a little bit of DECA twice a week plus the D-ball to kickstart. Like my cycles are like, if I had it to do over, I would have done bigger cycles at the beginning. Yeah. Because you're most responsive at the beginning, and that's what I do with.
So you don't like exactly agree with this 500 test, like everyone.
I don't agree with this. I don't agree with the slow crawl in.
Yeah.
Because I've done this plenty of times now with kids that come to me, and I have a rule. I tell them, I'm not doing it when you're a teenager. Unless they've already been on, then I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, then the door's already open.
Yeah, door's already open. But like, if they're not on, I will not do it until you're 20 years old. I refuse, and I let them know that ahead of time. But I do a lot of kids' first cycles now, and I see across the board, it works better when I do something a little bit bigger first. You know, not big, just a little bigger.
Yeah, because they can't handle it so much. Like they don't have the musculature.
So like I would say a first cycle for now. What I do with kids, like I'm talking about somebody who wants to be a bodybuilder. I don't really take on first cycles for like just like general fun.
Yeah.
The only first cycles I do are kids that want to be pros. Yeah. Right. Because that's typically who comes to me. If a kid comes to me, usually he wants to be a pro. So the first cycle is usually going to be like 500 test, 400 DECA, something like that. And I'll slow walk that up. And then I might end with just like a little bit more than that. And then the second cycle is like, I'm just giving ranges here. Because, you know, I change things every couple of years. It's all
subject to the individual.
So it's like the second cycle will be like 750 test, 400 DECA, you know, and then, you know, I will slowly crawl that up. But I don't go super high. Like even some of my best guys, my typical cycle is 250 every other day of test and like 150 every other day of DECA, which is still not incredibly higher than that, you know, because I don't feel like you need to go much higher than that till you really hit a wall.
Why do you think so many people are opposed to DECA nowadays?
Well, DECA has so many side effects that are going to come with it. You know, it affects your arteries. They're afraid of DECA dick. That's like a guy's worst fucking fear.
Do you really? I don't lean towards the DECA dick thing. I think it's kind of bullshit. Like, yes, it's very real. It can happen, but I think it's way more exacerbated nowadays because people are abusing porn. And they try to lean into saying, "Oh, it's DECA dick." Like I'm like, can you beat your meat and it still get up? They're like, yeah, but you can't fuck your girl. That's performance anxiety.
That's actually not something I've even considered.
So
I never even thought of that.
I had a client and I asked him, I was like, "You can still get it up?" He's like, "Yeah, but I can't keep up with my girl." Well, do you watch porn? He's like, "No." I was like, "Your girl is not in the same state as you, and you're telling me you're on this big ass cycle and you ain't watching porn? Come on, bro. You know you're lying."
Listen, with young kids, I actually warn them about their first cycle. I'm like, "You got a girlfriend?" I'm like, "You're gonna have to learn to control your mind because your sex drive is about to go wackier than you ever thought in puberty." I was like, "It's all you're gonna think about all day, every day." Like the first, like it's not like the intensity lowers. You learn how to deal with it. Like you know what to expect. It's that first cycle you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And your sex drive is gonna go through the roof higher than what you're anticipating. Like they're thinking, okay, it's gonna be like when I'm 15, 16 years old. No, it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be like that times 10.
Exactly.
You know, and that's all you're gonna fucking think about all day, every day. And I just try to mentally prepare them for it because then you can get distracted from work, you can get distracted from life.
It can consume you.
You know, it can consume you. Yes, exactly. So I try to make sure they're prepared for that. But I never thought about the porn thing desensitizing.
It is.
Never considered that.
You know what? A couple days later, oh, I'm all good.
Really?
Nothing changed.
So just cut the porn and then they're all good days later?
Well, the person didn't admit to the porn, but after we had that conversation, all of a sudden everything got good. But, you know, nothing changed.
It's funny. Now, I always try to like, you know, I always like to attack my ideas and attack my own models. And like, even like when AI was like doing an assessment, I said, I'm unreasonably or unusually willing to attack my own models because I like to try to find where my holes are. Yeah. So I always like to try to figure out how I'm wrong. So now you've got me in retrospect thinking maybe I was treating the wrong fucking things. Maybe I was.
I'm telling you,
I was always treating DECA symptoms.
I'm a big proponent of DECA. I like to use it with a lot of people. And a lot of people don't have this issue, but it's the one-offs when they do, and I talk to them, it's always coming near to that. Sure, some people are going to have the actual DECA issue, prolactin, estrogen, whatever it may be, causing it. But there's a lot of porn abuse nowadays.
Because I've experienced that happening with DECA.
Mm-hmm.
I was too busy watching porn because I was working nonstop. So like I've actually experienced that because there's even a story behind it where I just had this thing where I like keep lights off in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just like where everything's dim.
Yeah.
So like my bedroom at one point where I was living was like really dark. And I had thought I put the bottles in one order, but they were in the other order. So I started taking too much DECA and too little test. I didn't realize it for like 3 weeks, and it really messed me up.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what the hell was going on until I turned the light on. I was like, oh. So like I've literally experienced
you can fumble it if you have no idea which. But if you stay in those general ranges and everything's proper, it's not as much of an issue as it's made out to be, and it's stemming back.
Well, after you just added that variable into the equation.
Have that conversation next time with somebody and see how it fixes itself.
Well, after you've added that variable into the conversation, it's a very viable variable. That's just completely flipped the entire way that I'm perceiving that.
Yeah.
And we're just having this conversation in real time. We've never talked about this before. So I'm like in real time changing my opinion here. And now I'm rethinking my assessment of the situation. I never thought of that.
I think all these sides are being exacerbated via online stuff, whether obviously porn, but it's also the client sees or anybody sees like, oh, this is going to give me anxiety. This is going to give me that. When you start to manifest these things that never happen, like you would tell me like, oh, take this drug. I'd be like, fuck yeah, can we get some more of it? And now the kids are like, oh, should we take this much trend? It's like, what happened to getting excited just to like try something out? I was like, you've never been there. You don't even know what that's like.
It depends on who they're influenced by because there's so many influencers now.
It's so false information being spread online. It's just, it's sex sells, meaning like the negativity of being like, if you take EQ, you're going to lose your fucking mind. You take DECA, your brain's going to stop working. Your dick's going to stop working.
Controversy and negativity are the biggest hooks you can have, right? Like something that's going to, quote unquote, trigger people, rage bait people, make people want to reply and say something, right? So that becomes like a popular thing. So instead of saying something can do great for you, you're going to get more engagement by saying, don't do this. This is the devil. This is a problem, right? So you get influencers that will lay into one or the other. You got people just trying to rage bait people because they want clicks, and they just talk about the negative things. And it depends on who that individual has been watching because everybody's got a different feed, right? So you could have a lot of positive influences. You could have a lot of negative influences. This is my perspective with the whole like science-based lifter community. I think they went too far. And it's the most hilarious part about this is like one of my friends, TNF, Joel Twinham, is like one of their heroes. He was like their leader at one point.
And he
jumped on there. He's like, guys, I fucking disowned you. He's like, you went too goddamn far.
Yeah.
He's like, you make no goddamn sense. You're focusing on the wrong things. He's like, I am science-based. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you are. Like you're just out there. So like literally like their leader is like, no, because he's actually, this is why we became friends. He's really fucking smart. And I'm hard to impress. He's really smart. He makes a lot of sense. And again, I respect, not afraid to argue with me and disagree with me.
Yeah.
So we actually got into it on TikTok back in the day, going back. It's funny. He introduced me, right, to like he got my following way up.
Yeah.
Because he jumped in and he introduced me. He's like this is a really respected coach.
Yeah. And
then he goes right to arguing with me. And I was like, you know what? The fact that you think that highly of me and then still challenged me, I respect the hell out of that. So that's how you get my respect a lot of the time, by showing no fear, right? Or standing your ground on your morals and what you believe, whether you're right or wrong. I like that. And he was like their absolute leader. And he's like, yo, you guys are out of your fucking minds. He's like, I don't claim you. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But some of these kids are still going. And it's like absolutely ridiculous. And it's influencing a lot of the younger kids. I don't know if you've gotten a lot of younger kids, but a lot of the young kids I get, like down the road, they'll be like, I'm so glad I came to you. Like I was stuck. I was not moving. I was focused on the wrong things. I was not growing. And thank fucking God you pulled me out of it. Like actually some people that are like almost pro now. I don't know if you remember my old client Gabe Villa, I forget how to pronounce his last name, Villa, whatever it is.
The doctor dude that got peeled to the bone?
Yeah, doctor super fucking peeled. He even said, he's like, yo, I was stuck with those guys and then I got out of that and you completely flipped my thinking and he almost fucking turned pro.
Yeah.
Like, he made miles of progress because he abandoned that whole movement.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of kids right now that are stuck because they're believing in that movement.
Yeah.
So, like, these kids think that it's not a big deal. I'm just expressing my opinion. No, you're influencing kids your age. You're slowing them down. You're hurting them.
And that's the problem with the internet. There's so much information that the amount of misinformation is just ridiculous. Are you seeing pushback at your level, like a higher level coaching, with clients always coming to you, like questioning what's always worked, like, or just like having all these sides that no one used to have before? Like,
see, I won't
so
do
many
that.
people will be like, I know you, but it still makes its way to your door, and you shut it down.
Yeah.
But are you seeing an influx of that in general? You lost your.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
My little fuzzy.
Yeah. Are you seeing the influx of that in this newer generation of kids being like, oh, I don't want to take that. It's going to give me anxiety. It's going to give me decadent. Are you seeing that ramp up compared to how it used to be? Like, people used to be militant and just kind of like follow orders. Like, coach said it, let's do it.
I get it once or twice. I shut it down. I'm very clear on this.
Mm-hmm.
I make it clear that this is coaching. This is not a mentorship. So I will discuss and explain anything that we are doing. I'm not going over anything you've heard in videos. I'm not going over anything you've heard online. It's a waste of my time. If I thought that there were better options, I'd probably be implementing it, right?
Yeah.
I've scanned enough of the new information to the point where I have very few people that I trust to listen to and learn from. And I'll still watch their pages, and I'll still watch the things that they say. But the thing is, a lot of them are just my friends, my colleagues, my peers, people that, like, I'm on the same level with. So, like, I don't watch, like, I'm very, like, people will say it might be an appeal to authority, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to watch something from somebody who's not accomplished.
100%.
Listen, they might say something credible, but in my eyes, the odds on them saying something credible and figuring something out are much lower than somebody who's accomplished and established, right? So, like, why do we look up reviews on doctors, right? We want to know how good of a doctor that is, right? Mm-hmm. Because if they have a good reputation, it's much more likely to do a good job and know what they're talking about, right? Yeah. We look at that for professors. We look at that for businesses. Why would I not look at that for who I'm learning from, right? So I am very big on credibility and accomplishment. And, like, if you've accomplished nothing, if you're just some guy who just jumped on YouTube one day and started talking and got a big following because you're very presentable and you're very entertaining, I don't care how well you talk or how big your following is. I'm not listening to you.
Yeah, you've seen that a lot now. Everyone's
we see it a lot.
So smart. Big 14-inch arms. They can read perfectly word for word from the teleprompter, and they got nothing to show for it. And people are following this.
Some of them are even pretty big, and have done well in competition. But, like, that's just themselves. Yeah. Like, that, I don't consider, themselves an accomplishment as far as knowing for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, unless you've been able to duplicate this and have a track record and have the respect of your peers, like, all of us respect you and agree that you know what you're talking about, then I'm not listening to you. If I have something I'm thinking about, like, I'll pop it into the apprentice chat.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like, I'm looking for Andrew Berry's response.
Yeah.
Because one of my peers, somebody I respect, somebody who's proven time again, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He understands everything. And you've seen how many times has he said something and I went, oh, I didn't fucking think of that. Yeah. Right? Like, good point. Like, and that's why I do it, because the likelihood of him coming up with something I didn't think of is high. Mm-hmm. Chris Tuttle's another one. The likelihood of him saying something that I didn't think of is high. Why? Because he's fucking done it a million times, right? How likely is it this skinny little kid over here or this self-proclaimed guru is going to say something that I didn't think of?
Exactly. They don't have the body of work to learn this on.
It could happen, but I'm not going to sit there and watch 15, 20 videos hoping to find the one time. It's just a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Whereas if they say something, usually it's going to be something good every time.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't have to sift through anything. I don't have to waste my time doing it. So I'm going to stick to my sources. I'm going to keep learning that way, but I don't really want to hear what anybody else has to say. So don't send me videos from something you read online or heard from somebody online, because I just don't care to hear it. Like, I don't want to influence in my thoughts. And not only that, like, I operate off of first principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a strong base knowledge of physiology to begin with. So, like, and like, as we've been going through with education, right? You can take that and you can discern things and answers and conclusions that you've never even thought about or never even read about because of operating off of a strong base set of first principle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And working your way up to that conclusion and filling in the gaps and whatnot and troubleshooting. So a lot of times I can even figure things out perfectly. I mean, you've seen me do it. I could figure things out perfectly without ever having heard the question and get the right answer. And you can look it up, and
you
that's
can
the answer.
troubleshoot because you have all the tools necessary. Your toolbox is so deep to arrive at that conclusion. You don't have to fully understand.
So I don't feel like I need to be sitting online listening for like this new little tiny. Like, listen, I follow researchers for sure, because there's always new research coming out. So I follow people that are actual researchers that deeply understand this stuff. What's his name? I think his name is Nick Norwitz or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but like really like skinny as all hell, shredded, skinny as all hell, knows what the fuck he's talking about. Because again, I understand my physiology. So when I listen to him, I'm like, this guy knows what he's talking about. You know, you can identify it if you know it. And then he comes up with a lot of good things, a lot of good theories, challenges a lot of our current theories, right? And he comes up with a lot of good stuff. So I will follow people like that to pick up new information to add into my toolbox. But again, he's a researcher. He's proven. He's got a great track record. And then I can recognize how smart he is. You know, so I have trust in that. I'm not going to have trust in this guy who built up a big YouTube.
I think that's the issue. Is there's a lot of parroting at the lower level. They have no idea what they're actually speaking, or they can only just continuously replay it, but they're not deeply thinking about the process and how does this work, and be able to translate that into something else. You know, that first principle idea.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that people just have a lack of understanding in general. I think that they look at things as like just like an isolated topic that's being talked about.
A singular system. It's not working with a whole
exactly.
It's a whole body, not just a heart or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you have all of your systems functioning together as a single unit, and one system affects the next and whatnot. You have to know how they tie into each other, and then you can troubleshoot.
And just because it looks like this system failed, it's being caused by this. And if you're trying to fix this, but you got to actually come over here, follow the wiring to get to there.
Exactly. But a lot of people don't understand that. So they're really like isolating these situations and just treating it like it's just this isolated little thing, and that's not what it is. You know, so like they don't actually understand the systems. So like I always give the example, I've given it in other podcasts. Everybody has seen The Matrix. So like at one point in the movie, Neo walks up to that guy Cypher who's watching the screen. He goes, "Do you always read it encoded?" Because we see all the numbers and letters going up and down. And he goes, "You know, you have to." He's like, "But I don't see that anymore because I'm so used to it. I see blonde, redhead, brunette." He said, means like I could look at the coding and I see the picture. I look at the body and I can picture what's going on. I'm not going, okay, heart over here, kidney, lungs. I'm not doing that. I can literally consider everything as one working system and start troubleshooting because I see the full picture. And there's a lot of people that can do that. I don't like to listen to the people that can't do that, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you got into coaching. I know Jason Theobald pushed you into that, but you took 2 years. He took 2 years of him coaxing you into that decision before you were like, okay, let me give this a try. Did you charge people in the beginning?
Well, I was managing LA Fitness at one point, or fitness manager at LA Fitness.
Isn't it crazy? There's a lot of coaches that have never done personal training.
That is crazy because I feel like you should build.
You should have like 10,000 hours on the floor because you haven't dealt with so many different types of bodies. Like, how can you even teach someone if you're not teaching your client how to train online? That's crazy in general.
I think it's either a mix of Dunning-Kruger, like they think it's going to be easier than it actually is. They think they know more than they actually do, or it's just greed and they just don't care and they're like, I'll figure it out as they go. You know, because there's a lot of people that I would say over 90% of coaches shouldn't be coaching.
Yeah.
But like that's the whole crowd of, oh, this isn't complicated. Yes, it is. Like physiology is complicated. You know, just because you don't understand how we arrived at that surface concept, you know, that final destination or whatever that response is, you know, from all the underlying mechanisms doesn't mean that it's not complex.
Yeah.
You know, and just because you're good at pattern recognition and you can follow certain patterns and figure things out and then come up with certain processes and familiarity in certain situations doesn't mean you understand, because the second you encounter something that's not consistent with what you've seen, you're in trouble.
Fucked.
You know, you're fucked. You're in trouble, and you can actually hurt people's health with lack of understanding. We were talking about insulin, how like people think it's just this simple thing, you just follow this program, you can kill people.
It's always like, I want to take 10 units.
You can die.
Yeah, you don't just say I want 10 units. It's based off the whole picture, you know.
The people that, like, for example, like post-show, right? I've done this in the past before I was educated. I'm sure you've done this. I know a lot of people have done this. We just go out and eat like assholes after the show, and we gain a whole bunch of weight, right? We do stupid things, and our blood pressure shoots to the roof.
Yeah.
If you could picture what's going on in your body when you do that, you would never do it. Like, if you knew what you were doing to your kidneys in that 10, 15 days, if you knew what you were doing to your heart, if you knew how many years you were taking off your life, you would not do that.
That's why the best race car driver is not a good mechanic. When you understand how all the systems function, you think about that and it scares you. You don't want to push that car.
Yeah, but my point is they wouldn't do something that's stupid if they knew what the actual cost was. If they could picture if they could visualize what's going on in the body, you'd be like, whoa, I'm not going to do that. But they can't. And that's why they do it, because they're not aware of the damage that they're doing. You can do damage in 10, 15 days that takes years off your life, and they don't even know it. A lot of bodybuilders have been retired because they damaged their kidneys earlier in their life, and then slow wear and tear, through their career, slightly elevated blood pressure. Like, blood pressure is usually what blows out your kidneys, and then all of a sudden kidneys fail and everything's watery and everything's not functioning. You're never getting dry again. Yeah, you're never going to be dry again, but your energy levels are crashing. You're feeling like shit. Now it's affecting your cardiovascular system. It's affecting your liver. It's affecting everything. It's affecting your skin.
Do you think, though, that your level of knowledge was ever a detriment to like your bodybuilding career? Would you have been better off of not knowing so much?
If I knew what I knew now, I'd be better. But when I was competing, I was in the middle.
Yeah.
So I knew a lot, but I didn't know enough.
Yeah.
So I think that at that point, simpler would have been better. But if I knew what I knew now, I'd have been much better. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I was too much in the middle.
Yeah.
I was at the point where I knew a lot, enough to complicate it, but not enough to simplify that to use it. If that makes sense. So like Richard Feynman said, right? If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. I understood it complexly. I didn't understand it simply. So I didn't understand it well enough to apply it effectively.
Absolutely. So let's talk about how you got into coaching with Jason. I know you get on tangents.
I do.
What's Trump call that when he breaks off?
I have no idea.
Oh, man,
I haven't listened to him in a while. he's going off like whatever. But me and Jason were like good friends, right? And we would always talk back and forth. And like, we were both educated from like the forums. We became friends like that. And like, we'd ask each other questions. And like, whenever somebody would ask me a question back then, I'd send you a book.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, like, I'd rattle off like 10 paragraphs to your questions. And like, my early clients actually got that. That's actually how I identified some of my first apprentices, because I would rattle that off. And then I realized later they'd remember it all. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, they understood it, So, but I would like rattle off. And then Jason would always say to me, he's like, you got to get into coaching. You've got to get into coaching. He's like, it'd be a shame, for the industry to not have all this knowledge. And he would like push me and push me and push me. And that I wasn't doing it. So then Jason hit me in my soft spot, which was money. He started sending me financials. He's like, you can be making this, you can be making this. And I'm like, now I'm thinking about it. And then I stopped working at LA, and then I was looking for another job, and he's like, why don't you coach? I'm like, all right. So I have Jason Theobald to thank for pushing me into coaching. Was that?
What year?
2012.
So y'all were just doing like emails for coaching and whatnot at that point?
We were doing emails for coaching. I always text, I think, to an extent, because I didn't have a lot of clients back then.
Yeah.
When I first started coaching my first year, I think it was like 6 people.
Okay.
I think I had like 6 people through 2013. 2014, I really picked up. I got to like, I mean, back then this was a lot. It was like 30, 35, but we only charged like $150 a month.
Yeah.
Like that was like the standard. I remember talking to Matt Porter in 2014 after USA. And I think he had like 50, and that was like the highest.
Yeah.
I think he was charging like 175 or 200, and that was like really high.
Yeah.
And then it evolved from there. But no, I didn't have very many at the beginning, which is why I text a lot more. And I even tell you, like, when your client load gets high, you're not going to want to send those book texts out, because it's exhausting. It wears on you at some point. And the thing is, like, I think it was also like me trying to get the client to believe in me and trust me. And it's kind of like a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, you don't believe that the client trusts you fully, because you haven't done this long enough to trust yourself.
Yeah.
So like, if I show them I know a bunch of knowledge, then they're going to trust me. So I was like, kind of like trying to prove myself to them. And, another one of the Feynman techniques is, if you don't, like, one of the ways to learn is teach, right? Teach the lesson and you'll learn really well. Yep. I think that actually accelerated my learning by teaching. So I would like rattle off books to any question. And, that actually expedited my learning, because then when I would go to teach, I would realize, well, oh, there's a hole here. I don't know this. I don't know that. I don't know this. I don't know that. And the way that I am is like you said, diagnostics. I'm just troubleshooting nonstop. I'm trying to plug holes. So like, I don't want holes in my game. So as you're going, you're like, wait, I need this information. I need that information. I need that information. And I would dig into research, and I would study for God knows how many hours. It was just like, I was completely obsessed, because I was just trying to make myself better with the information. So I knew I didn't have everybody's genetics. So I figured if I could figure out more than everybody else, Then I keep up.
Use
And to an extent, I was right, because my genetics weren't going to get me to where I got. Even like on Ken Skip Hill's podcast, I got a lot further than anybody ever thought I was going to when I first started, and that's because my genetics weren't that responsive. But the smarter I got and the more I figured out, I was able to like do little things to make up an inch here, make up some ground here, make up some ground here. And I think those inches added up to miles, and that got me to where I was.
Yeah. So what are your hobbies now? What do you do for fun? What is Phil outside of bodybuilding?
Shit, I don't have a lot of fun right now. I've just been working and focusing on work and trying to work on some projects. And
you don't ever like get outside and do some stuff, catch up with friends and.
I mean, I every day I go for a walk on the boardwalk in the pier by my house because I love that.
Yeah.
Get some exercise, keep myself healthy, keep my blood pressure down.
Gotta get that sunlight.
I also do like I noticed like in the middle of the day, like I'll be working through the morning, and at some point like I'll start to come down, but I'll get like a little bit of anxiety, and the best way to get anxiety out is movement.
Exactly.
So when I feel that onset, like if I let it hit me, I'm not going to leave the house.
Yeah.
Because then I get stuck like with that anxiety. I feel it creeping. I put my shoes on. I run. Like I get out of the house, and then that usually, and I put some music on, or I'll listen to a podcast, and that usually alleviates that. And then I go back. Then I come back home and I'll eat, and then I'll go into round 2 of work.
Yeah.
And then I just basically work through it because I'm working on some different projects.
Some bigger things. Yeah.
I take a lot of time, so I haven't I'm very obsessive, and obsession doesn't last forever. Like obsession is fleeting. So when you have it, you've got to use it. It's like free energy, because discipline takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot out of you to do it. Whereas like obsession is, I want to do it. Like I'm excited to do it.
Exactly.
So it's a lot easier to do, but any day that obsession can disappear. So while I'm obsessed, I stay on it because that gets me done quicker. It gets me through it and I do a better job. So I've been really focused on that. I did start to get back into baseball. I do swing my bat probably every other day. But the thing is, I got so muscle bound from bodybuilding that my shoulders were so tight. I still can't swing a bat properly.
Don't you I found like when I was doing the tire swings with the hammer, it freed my shoulders up. It actually made them feel a lot better. I see like you can get that with the baseball bat too.
Yeah, and it's been helping.
It's just natural movement.
I've been doing the Dante Trudel stretch with the band over the head, back and over forward, and that really helps unstick my shoulders a lot. And I noticed like that it alleviates my shoulder pain. If I don't do it for a few days, I get it. And I do notice that swinging my bat helps. But again, it's getting better. I mean, it's improving session to session, but it's nowhere near like when I was young. Like I still catch myself like tensing before the swing when you're supposed to stay loose.
Yeah.
I catch myself just tight through the hips. I'll catch my hips opening a little too early because I'm too tight. So I'm trying to like get ahead of it, which is what you don't want to do. You want to stay coiled until you open your hips.
Are you planning on getting into like a community league? Doing something
possibly.
with
I was pretty good when I was young. So
I feel like you need some of that in your life, man.
I'm very
some community.
That's the thing. I think that I argue with people online because I don't have any competition in my life right now. And I'm such a competitive person. I'm just looking for something to compete on.
But
like I'm just looking for somebody to argue
but
with.
Also camaraderie you get from that team. It's fun, man. Like you can't take it, but so serious too. In these kind of, this is not the MLB. Like go there and have some fun with, but still get competitive, just like you would with your guys.
Yeah, but I'm never the type that can relax into that.
Nah, you gotta find that.
The fun that I find in it is the competition.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, if you said I could eat more Oreos than you, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go. I'd be serious too. I'd be like, let's go.
You've been loading all week with those pancakes.
Yeah, I have.
I would eat like 14 of them each morning. And fucking.
Hey, I think I only did like 6 this morning.
Yeah. And how'd that work out for you?
I still crashed.
My blood sugar's too high. Hold on, I gotta take a nap. This and that.
Yeah.
Go down to the gym, hit a chest pump, fucking walk around.
Hey, listen, it happens.
Peak performance.
I've gotten better on it, but I think that like the competition aspect of my life has been missing.
Yeah.
So like I've noticed like that's how I've always gotten my aggression out.
Yeah.
And because I've had nothing competitive, like it's made me a little hostile.
Yeah.
So like I've been practicing baseball. I've picked out a jiu-jitsu gym. I've already started looking for a boxing trainer because I want to get back to that. But like the last time I tried to box was fucking embarrassing. Like, because I got so muscle bound from bodybuilding. Like I'm trying to slip punches. My whole fucking body's moving. Like my shoulders are coming with me.
Yeah.
Like you could fucking like sip be sipping tea and wait 5 seconds and still hit.
So when you transitioned out of bodybuilding, where'd you put that energy?
Nowhere.
Yeah, that's a huge.
That was
issue.
the problem.
That's like one of my things. It's like I don't know what I'm gonna do without this and where I'll put it. I have ideas, but I'm not entirely sure.
My mouth is dry as fuck.
Do your thing. So I think you have to have an exit strategy, and you didn't have that, and that definitely
I think that affected me.
Challenged your life.
You know what it is? I wasn't ready to quit bodybuilding. It kind of hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like kind of in denial that my body wasn't doing what it used to do, and me being me, thinking I can outthink the process, but
you kept on fighting it.
You can't.
I think that's the worst is when you don't leave on your own accord.
We talked about this as far as like one of the current Olympians. I don't want to name names and take any shots at anybody, but all of us older bodybuilders who have retired recognize this. When your fullness starts to go, you start to go, oh shit, like you start to notice, you're like, maybe I can eat more carbs, take more insulin. So then you start to get this swollen, bloated look because you're trying to chase that fullness that used to be there easily and it's not there anymore. And what you don't realize is when you cut down for a show, that bloated roundness is gone.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a flatter physique. And it's as good as you're not going to get that fullness back. There's nothing you're going to fix. There's nothing you're going to do about it. And, you know, I like to think that if anybody was going to figure out how to reverse that, that would have been me.
Yeah. And
there was no reversing that. So it's kind of like a hard pill to swallow.
I try to remind people when I'm training them or whatever it may be to be present in the moment, you know. This is not going to last forever. This might be your last PR of your life. Be present in the gym. Take the headphones off. Listen to the plates, sing to you and all that. Like, one day you're going to look back and be like, fuck, I wish I could still do that. And it's gone.
Did you hear me give that speech this weekend, or did you just pull that out?
That's right.
Because I actually just gave that speech this weekend. Like, one of the things that I regret the most is not enjoying it.
Yeah.
I put so much pressure on myself, and you never know when that show is going to be the peak of your career.
Exactly.
Because you're always thinking, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better, I'm going to get better. And one day that's not true.
Yep.
So the show that you're in, that's going to be your lifetime best, you don't even know it.
A lot of times it slips away so slowly you don't even see it happening until it's too late.
Or it could happen very fast. But the thing is, like, you literally could think, oh, I'm still improving. I just got better for this show. I'm going to keep getting better. You don't, like, nobody knows that that's the peak of their career.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever stepped on stage and gone, this is the best I can ever get. It's never happened. So you're never going to know that that show is going to be your lifetime best.
The good old days.
So
right
enjoy it. Make sure you have fun with it. You know, stop stressing yourself out. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself, because why do this if you don't enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
You know, like when you're at the show, a lot of people just don't want to accept reality. You've got to accept things how they are. And that's a key to really enjoying this, because we've heard a million times, wait till I carb up, wait till I start loading. You're not going to turn into Phil.Viz. You're not going to get super round and fill out and be this gigantic monster out of nowhere all of a sudden. Like, I've done all the meticulous stuff. Like, I've loaded out of my ass, and you might get like a quarter inch on your arm. Like, it's not even visible. Like, what's visible is the separation and the hardness, you know, and kind of like the roundness you get to the muscle that makes it look bigger.
Yeah.
But dimensionally, you don't change much.
You should have already seen your look 2 weeks out.
You should have seen what you're going to look like at your show, you know, during a refeed or something like that, you know. But, like, you're not going to transform. And I think a lot of people expect that, and they think that, and they hope for that, and then it doesn't happen, and they get let down, and they thought they were going to look better. And that's because they're rejecting how they currently look and just hoping that something different is going to happen. No, this is reality.
So you learned that, but have you embraced it in your current life?
Nope.
Ain't that funny? It's so easy to talk about it like, oh, I know what to do, but I can't fucking do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been debated whether I have autism or not. You know, some people say yes, some people say no. I know you
undiagnosed, but sure.
I know you say for sure. Probably a lot of the viewers are like, oh, no. But, you know, like, so I know that I have these flaws in my thinking and my perception. And I know I have my extremes, and I know I can get obsessive. And a lot of times, like we talked about in the car, you're like, if you're aware of it, you can control it. I'm like, no, not really. Like, not always.
Yeah.
You know, like, some things build in me like pressure. Like, if I hold it in, it's going to explode. Like, I can't just dull it and, like, make, you know, sense of it and just let it go.
You just got to find an external relief, though, a different relief system that may not be voicing over what happened, but training, some kind of outlet you have to continue. I think men have to have that, and it's a big.
I don't feel like training does it for me anymore.
Well, because you can't train at the level you did, but you can redirect that energy into jiu-jitsu or something of that nature, and get that out without putting it out into online or whatever it may be in a way you don't want it out.
You know what it is? I think that's why I wanted to go back to boxing and baseball, because I never reached my potential that I felt like I could do in those.
Well, that's the beauty of starting something new, is the baseline's so low. If you I want to still train, you'll never be there, you know?
The knowledge now on baseball is so much higher than when I was a kid. Like, I was trying to engineer like a baseball swing and all this. there wasn't even like 1% of the information of today.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more, and this is how I think like an engineer. If I had that information, I'd have been significantly better, because that's how I think and that's how I learn. So now with this information, like, I already know I can be significantly better than I ever was.
Mm-hmm.
With this information. Just, will my body do it? But I think it will, because it's not like bodybuilding, it's not like wrestling and things like that.
But have you considered pursuing something without trying to take in all the knowledge of it? Like, you know how you just play a video game with your friends and it's kind of like
I don't
Call
have
of
fun
Duty?
with that.
You have to pretty much like put everything into it. And
The
just,
thinking is the fun part for me.
yeah.
Like, when I was bodybuilding, if somebody were to say to me, like, say hypothetically, with a coach I'd have been better, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Because that would have taken the fun out of it for me.
Yeah, I can
You
see
know,
that.
I had fun thinking, and that's what made me better, and that's what made me the coach I am today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my friends even said to me, is like if I had been a better bodybuilder, probably wouldn't have tried to overthink so much and figure everything out, because the results would have been good.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't have been a good coach.
Well, that's what makes the best coach, is someone who doesn't get it for free.
Yeah, exactly. So the people that have had like easy, like everything worked, like good genetics, response, everything went the way it was supposed to, they're not very good coaches usually, because they never had to figure anything out. You know, they
Everybody
ever
walks up to the guy with big ass arms. How you get your arms like that? It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter, exactly.
You're born with that, and then just fucked around and still got them. Find
You
the
want
guy
the
who
guy-
had no arms
and then
figured
don't
that
teach
shit
them.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's somebody who really understands some shit.
So I think you're right. I do need an outlet into something. Like I told you before, I think that I wanted to get back into chess. But the thing is, with chess, if you want to be really good at chess, you got to put a shit ton of time into it.
Yeah.
And I don't have that kind of time right now, and I don't want to half-ass it. So I'm not going to get significantly better unless I have that kind of time. So I don't want to do something unless I can go in on it.
Yeah.
So like baseball wouldn't take anywhere near the amount of time chess would.
Yeah.
So I can do that. Boxing wouldn't take anywhere near the amount of time that chess would. So I can do that, because I know I'm going to get better at those at a good rate, and I'm going to be satisfied. Chess, no. I will not get good enough at the rate that I want to be satisfied.
Yeah.
Unless I have time to dedicate, which I don't right now. So like, I love chess. I've been playing since I was 5. I was beating adults when I was 6. But like, I won't be able to make the progress that I want to make, especially in today's time with how good everybody is. Like, there's so many good players now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, realistically, like, it's much harder to get a higher rating. There's no way I'm going to make enough progress to be satisfied with that.
Yeah. I think it's also important, though, to come out of the individualized sports like that and move into community-based. Especially as we get older, we're less likely to interact with people. Having a community is tremendous. It means everything.
Yeah, but again, I don't really connect with a lot of people, right, because of my personality. So it's hard for me to find people that I really get along with and enjoy being around.
But if you close that door, you're never going to have friends. Sometimes you have to walk into that discomfort. You like people. You like having me out here and hanging out with
Yeah, so I like.
But if you were just
people.
an asshole and you're like, I don't fucking like people, you're not gonna have any friends. You're gonna be just
No, I like certain people. It's few and far between the types of people that I get along with, because if I hang out with the wrong types of people, it drains me rather than energizes
I get
me.
that.
You know,
But you got to sort through them to find good people. There's always good people out there. You just have to be open and allow it.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to like getting some of my aggression out and activities, and then it allowed me to relax a little more.
Yeah.
And then I can socialize more comfortably. Like if you saw me this weekend, I was running around. I wasn't relaxed.
Well, these people are fucking weird, man.
They are. A lot of people will.
You go to jiu-jitsu or baseball and whatnot. Those people are fucking cool. They just want to talk about, random shit. It's not the same things you hear. You're in bodybuilding. It's an echo chamber. Every podcast is the same. They talk about how much insulin, how much drugs, this and that. And that's the goal with this, is just to fucking talk to people. Show that we're humans too.
And this is why, like, certain people I like being around, When I hang out with my friends, like I'm around Chris Tuttle, Andrew Berry, those guys, Justin Jacoby was here this weekend, good friend of mine. They're not asking me questions. They're not quizzing me. They're not trying to get anything out of me. They're not hanging out with me because I'm beneficial. We're just friends. Most people, when I come across at a show, I know that if I open the door, they're going to start asking questions.
Yep.
Teach me about this. Tell me about this. Tell me about this. Tell me about this. So I feel like they only want to be around me because I'm helpful. Whereas, like you said, like the guys I met from the jiu-jitsu gym, they happen to just come to my gym, like on like a day where they're like boots and shit. And he happened to be a wrestler, and we started talking about wrestling, and it was like he was the better wrestler than me, so like he didn't want anything from me.
Yeah.
So it was like that felt good.
It's nice being the newbie and stuff, man. Like if you going into baseball and you're watching these other guys and they're teaching you about it, you're like, I don't know everything. They know something. It's fun being at the bottom.
So I think I like being in situations where like they don't want anything from me.
Yeah.
They're not trying to gain anything from being around me. But that these days, Not often, you
No,
know,
yeah, it's very
because
rare.
if you know me and you know what I know, you're like, well, I might not see this person again very soon. This is my opportunity to ask questions, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. I get it. Like, I understand, but like, it doesn't feel good for me.
No.
You know, I love helping people. I love being helpful. Like, if I come across you in the gym, great. If I come across you in the store, great. At a bodybuilding show, I'm doing 100 things.
Yeah.
So I don't want to sit there and give lessons. You know,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 48, 72 hours nonstop. And I don't want to do more of it, you know. So like in this setting, I don't want to sit and teach, but like I know that that's what people want, and I know that I would want that if I was them.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I can't be mad at them for it.
Can't be an ass about it.
Well, I can't be mad at them for it because that's what I would do.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So I'm kind of like being upset about something that I did.
It's nice to be just viewed as Phil, not the educator, the bodybuilder, and so forth.
That doesn't happen at bodybuilding shows.
Yeah, that's to say you're in this echo chamber. That's why getting out in communities like baseball and so forth is going to be so tremendous for your mental health.
Yeah, because I'm the bottom guy there. Like, I'm the one asking questions. I'm the one learning. Nobody wants shit from me because I don't know anything. You know, like, they're all the big dogs, and that takes the pressure off of me and allows me to relax.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's why I like those scenarios.
It's a lot healthier out there too with that stuff. Bodybuilding is, people are very, you know, we're insecure. We came into this, now we're amplified on drugs. But like jiu-jitsu, it's just a dad. He does that for fun, and then he goes home and he's just a normal guy, watches football, whatever. It's nice to get out of that.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Like, when I can, it's great. Like, when we're sitting around not talking about bodybuilding, just talking about life,
shop talk, man.
It feels good. You're like, we're not like, we're just hanging out like friends, right? So that feels good when I can do that, but that doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, like, anybody who recognizes me at a show, they're immediately like, well, I can get something here. You know, so, you know, that kind of like pulls on me a little bit if I'm already tired. Now, if it's a 1-day show, fine. 3 days, that wears on you, you know, and I'm a human being, you know, so like, it can wear me down.
Yeah,
it just is what it is.
We'll get you out of the house, get you in California, and have some fun.
No, I'm gonna start spending time in California, throughout the country. So I'll probably spend a couple weeks down by you. I'll probably spend a couple weeks up by Luke. I'll probably come out here and visit Andrew. You know, go see my friends, like, because I'm not tied down right now. So once I get my new puppy in a couple weeks, and then I get her acclimated to traveling, then I can just travel all over and, you know, spend my time doing that. I love the fact that I'm not tied down and stuck to any one area. So like, that will, you know, give me a break. The month I spent in Cali, like, I was a different person.
That weather changed your life, huh?
It wasn't the weather. It was just being around
people, but that
friends.
weather, sunshine and 75 every day is pretty good. You wake up and it just hits your skin. You walk down to the beach. You know, it's always good.
I live on the beach in Florida.
Yeah,
so
look at this horse shit.
No, not this side of Florida. The other side of Florida.
Oh, y'all got good weather over there?
Yeah, we got good weather over there. So, and I literally live on the beach. So I wake up, my wall in my bedroom is a giant mirror. So like, the reflection of, like, when you wake up, all you see is beach and ocean.
Yeah, like, we see it on other podcasts. You like to show it.
Yeah, I love to show that.
Is that green screen? No, that's you.
I only spend money on 2 things: cars and views. Yeah. I love views. You know, that's why, like, when I went to Cali, it was crazy. Like, I was telling you, Luke, like, one of my very good friends, Luke Carroll, like, I had a great time out there. He's 2 days out from Cali. His comeback show after 7 years. He takes me to the beach so I could, like, see the beach and see the sunset on the Pacific. And, like, who does that?
Yeah,
you know, I would be moody as shit staying home. He got in the truck, drove us 30 minutes and took me to the beach. Like, and I love that because I love views. We're driving through Reno and he's like pointing things out. He's like, yo, look at that. Like, I was looking at the mountains. I love views. That's something that I really like. Yeah. That's why, and no matter where I live, I've got to have a water view. No matter where I live, it's got to be water. That's why I live on the ocean now. So I can wake up in the morning and I always look out at that ocean and it always picks me up in the morning. I love that. You know, so like, that's why I love Cali. The views are just amazing. Yeah. You know, and I got to see the sunset on the Pacific for the first time in my life. And, you know, I love shit like that. So, you know, I don't really have to move around to see that, you know, but I can see different views in different places, you know?
Absolutely. Well, we'll go ahead and close it out. I got to roll out anyways, but appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it, brother.